Broncos are the better team. I can't say it any other way.
I don't really think everybody knows what they're about to witness.
I know talent when I see one. I should be an NFL scout.
Jonathan, I don't like that pick. I love that pick.
Think of Game Blazers as Madden Ultimate Team mixed with fantasy football. You can open packs to build your roster and compete in contests to win credits or cash. Use the link in our bio to get a free starter pack and join our free contest titled Dorm Debate. Good luck.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Dorm Debate podcast, and welcome to our Week 11 preview episode. We have a great one for you today because we are looking at the playoff picture. Yes, we are looking at the playoffs in Week 11. They are coming up. They are fast approaching. And if you stop and look right now, there are some teams that would make the playoffs that you would think otherwise would be like bottom tier. I mean, I have our predictions from the beginning of the season of what the division would look like. Some of these teams that are making the playoffs, we said we're going to be dead last in some of these divisions. So I thought it would be a great idea to go through what the playoff picture looks like right now as it stands in Week 11. So the first thing I want to mention, obviously, because Jonathan, I have to go and defer it over to you for this because it's Tuesday, which means yesterday was Monday, and that is when the Bills lost to the Broncos at home in just a colossal fashion of mistakes and turnovers and just absolutely crumbling at home of all places. I don't want to put words in your mouth, so I just want to have you talk. What did you think of that game right off the rip? Because right now, which might shock some people, the Bills, if the playoffs start today, they're out. They're out of the playoffs, 5-5.
People called me crazy. People chastised me. People insulted me. But I knew the whole time what I was talking about. For the past couple years, I've been telling you guys, this team, this guy, Josh Allen, they're overrated. They had that one good game against the Chiefs, and the Chiefs defense wasn't that great, by the way. And, it was probably one of the greatest games in NFL history. Yes, people got excited. Yes. They could win the Super Bowl next year. No. It was harder for Patrick Mahomes because the Bills defense was number one. So that was a great game by him. Josh Allen, they did what they were supposed to do. The Chiefs defense was terrible. So ever since that game, people have been lifting up the Bills like, they're like the best team, one of the best teams. I knew the whole time they're overrated. Finally, people finally see what I was talking about. 5 losses this season. 5. Okay? And it's funny how they fired the offensive coordinator acting like it was him. No! Josh Allen turnovers, interceptions, fumbles. Running backs are fumbling. That's not the offensive coordinator. What can you do? The players aren't executing the plays. Okay? So
Dropped passes.
Right through Gabe Davis's hands.
Right through their hands. Look, I don't even think they're going to lose to the Broncos. I said the Eagles, Chiefs, Cowboys. The Broncos? And that's another thing about the Broncos. Russell Wilson, he played amazing. Y'all saw that pass, that Charlotte touchdown pass to Cortland Sutton? That was amazing. That was probably one of the best I've seen in a while.
Old Russ.
And so it's funny. People will chastise you if they just like to look at the headlines and, see what everybody else is doing. But I watched film. On all these guys. I knew Russell Wilson would be back, number one. Number two, I knew Josh Allen, again, was overrated and the Bills are overrated. It's a matter of time. I knew it was a matter of time before they went downhill. And again, they fired the offensive coordinator. But guys, Sean McDermott, I don't know, man.
The thing is, what would you do? Because, it wasn't the offensive coordinator's fault. James Cook fumbled. Allen threw an interception, went through Gabe Davis's hands. What do you, get rid of all the players?
Well, I'll tell you what we can do. 12 players on the field? 12 players on the field? Are you kidding me? We learned that in elementary school. Count to 12. Count to 11. There's 12 players on the field. That's a simple mistake. That's on Sean McDermott. So what does the offensive coordinator have to do with that? And they fired him. They lost because of that. And so it was kind of funny. Sean McDermott, of course, that's the easy thing to do. He knew his job was on the line, so he quickly fired somebody. Somebody had to go. And that's the easiest explanation. I mean, the offense hasn't been as great without Dabble, but they haven't been terrible. I mean, other than the fumbles and stuff, schematically.
Josh Allen leads the league in touchdowns.
Right.
Yeah, he leads the league in
and
touchdowns
turnovers.
and interceptions.
There are
And
worse.
turnovers.
There are worse
And turnovers.
offenses
And
that we've seen.
Speaking
this
of
year.
that, I mean, people have been pushing this under the rug, guys, but it's important to say he's been the league leader in interceptions since 2023, 2022, 2021, 2020, 2019, and 2018. Josh Allen has, and finally, people are saying, "Oh, maybe he's not what we thought he was before. Maybe he's not that great player that we thought he was before. Maybe he's not comparable to Burrow and Mahomes after all." I've been saying this since the day I laid eyes on him. Okay, I've been watching film. I've been watching film. I've been watching film. He doesn't have that it factor. Okay, and that's a controversial. People are gonna get me in the comments, but they're not gonna make the playoffs, guys. And what are y'all gonna do when that happens? They're not gonna make the playoffs, and I mean it. Now you guys see it now. Y'all thought I was acting crazy. Sometimes I talk like this because I'm passionate, but what I'm saying is right. What I'm saying is true. They're not gonna make the playoffs because they make too much mistakes. Again, like I said last week, if somebody shows you who they are, believe them. And they've showed us plenty of times this year who they are. They're a team that can't execute. They're a team that causes turnovers through fumbling, through interceptions. Guys, they're not going to win the Super Bowl. Definitely not going to win the Super Bowl, and definitely not going to go far in the playoffs. And so, yeah, this year I don't think they're going to make the playoffs because it's next week against the Jets, right? That's
so this week they get Jets, then they go to Philadelphia, play the Eagles, then they have a bye, then they play Chiefs, Cowboys, Chargers, Patriots, Dolphins. The only easy one there is the Patriots.
Exactly.
And at Chargers is the second easiest, but that's not even.
It's just such a tough schedule. I'm not saying they will, but that is you're looking at a really big uphill battle for the Bills.
Yeah,
considering how they've been. So
guys, all you guys been I don't hate the Bills, honestly. I wish them well, but like
you do.
It's
okay. It's okay to say that
because it's funny how the whole world nobody could see this except me. I saw between the lines.
You got a lot of hate over the years.
I got a lot of hate. I saw between the lines. That's what it was. I don't hate them.
But this isn't the end game. Like, what if he could come back next year and have a great year, right?
Next year maybe. But like, if we're talking about the greats, when's the last time Patrick Mahomes missed the playoffs? When's the last time it was even a thought in our minds he would miss the playoffs?
Never.
So I'm just saying this. Like, it's just funny how a couple years changed things. People were saying it was Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes who's the best. Josh Allen's way out of that picture now. Okay, and so it's just funny. It's just really funny. So I'm glad people are starting to realize that now. You guys have caught up. I feel like an inventor because I'm way ahead of my time. Okay,
what's the next thing that's gonna happen?
Well, I was right about Russell Wilson, right? I was right about that. So
I want you to make another prediction.
Okay, well,
blinded by hate, hard to see ahead.
Let's parlay that into some of the division winners because Jonathan, you did have a good AFC East pick because everybody else picked Bills first, and obviously the Bills most likely won't get first. It's probably going to be the Dolphins, which you picked the Jets, but then Rodgers got injured. But you were very adamant that the Dolphins were getting second place. Yeah. So I would give you that and say you got the Dolphins, and then we all said Pats to be dead last. But let's take a look at the playoff picture for the AFC. For Week 11, if it ended right now and the playoffs started today, you'd have the Chiefs having a first-round bye. You'd have the Ravens in second, winning their division. The Jacksonville Jaguars in the third place, winning their division. And the Dolphins winning their division at 4. Then the Dolphins would play the Steelers. The Pittsburgh Steelers at 6-3 have the first wild card spot right in front of the Cleveland Browns, who are 6-3, and the Houston Texans and CJ Stroud are 5-4. They snag the last wild card spot. So in the AFC, Chiefs, Ravens, Jags, Dolphins, Steelers, Browns, and Texans. Anybody sticking out to you that's missing? Because Cincinnati Bengals would not make it. They are the 8th spot, first team out. The Bills would be the 3rd team out. They're 10th. The Chargers would be the 12th team out, or the 12th team. They would be like the 5th team out right now. Bengals are 5-4, but Bills are 5-5, and the Chargers are 4-5, along with a bunch of other teams. But the big one, the notable one, a team that the Bengals. Look,
Yeah.
for last year, the year before that, we look at Joe Burrow, Patrick Mahomes, Bengals, Chiefs. We automatically think AFC Championship. This is going to be the AFC Championship for years to come. And now all of a sudden, the Bengals are, it's only midseason, but they're out of the playoffs. They're 5-4, and they have the toughest remaining schedule right now. They have the the toughest remaining schedule left. The Bills have the fourth toughest remaining schedule left. I mean, John, you got to help me out here because as a person who picked the Bengals to win the division, that's long gone. Now you're just hoping for a wild card spot. What is there? Is there any hope for this Bengals team after a loss to a dang rookie last week in C.J. Stroud?
I wouldn't say that the division is out of reach at this point.
Yeah, it's not out of reach.
But we'll find out on Thursday because they're actually playing the Ravens in Baltimore. So they're 5-4. The Ravens are 7-3, so it's not over yet. But the Bengals have a big opportunity at their hands. Like you said, they have the toughest schedule remaining, but they play the Steelers twice. The Steelers are 6-3 in one of those wild card spots. They play the Browns once, who are also 6-3 in one of those wild card spots. They play the Colts, who are just below them, also at 5-5, just like the Bills. So the Bengals have a big opportunity, and I still believe in the Bengals. I know they started off the season not doing too great, and they kind of, hesitated against the Texans this week. But I still think that the Bengals will make the playoffs. I know they have the toughest schedule and everything like that, but I still believe maybe T. Higgins comes back next week. He's dealing with a hamstring injury, but the offense is looking better. They're getting Irwin involved. They're using all their tight ends, Sample, Irv Smith, Hudson. They're using Tyler Boyd. Jamar Chase, of course, is there. So Mixon getting more involved now. I have him in 3 of my fantasy leagues, so I know very well about him. Mm-hmm. But I still would predict that the Bengals will make the playoffs, and I would say probably one of those AFC North teams, either Steelers or Browns, will dip out. Now, the reason why I think the Texans will stay in is because they do have a very easy schedule left. Their division is pretty easy. I mean, they got to play the Titans twice, and they got to play the Colts again. So it's a pretty good path for the Texans, but I still have faith in the Bengals. I still think if they don't win the division, which they still have a chance to do, I think they'll make the wild card.
Yeah, I agree. The NFL system's a beautiful system because the best teams will always end up usually making the playoffs about 95% of the time, and the bad teams will find a way to get out. Okay, and so a talented team like the Bengals still find a way to get in the playoffs. They're gonna make it. Okay, and like John said, I think the Steelers aren't gonna make it. The Steelers will find a way to blow it. Pickett, he's unreliable. I've seen enough of him. He's not the guy for the Steelers. And so, again, the teams that are on the edge will usually find a way to get out of the playoffs, and great teams like the Bengals will find a way to make it. And they're hungry for it. They were so angry after that loss against the Texans. Even though they played well, it's just the Texans are better than a lot of us thought. I think the Texans, that's a toss-up, right? They've been playing really well. I think it's possible they could keep it up, at least in terms of making the playoffs. So, yeah, the Browns are looking good. Deshaun Watson, I think that's another guy I'm sort of right about, right? I think he's back. Okay, he's back. Wilson's back. Deshaun Watson's back. Kyler Murray's back. Everybody's back.
Whoa. You said Kyler Murray sucks and you should trade him.
I didn't say he sucks. I didn't say he sucks. I said let's cool it down a bit. Like Shaq said about Luka. Let's cool it down a bit. That's all. Tone it down.
All right, so you're not right about him yet.
I mean, he's back. I'm not right. I'm just saying.
Yeah, it's a fact. It's a fact.
He is back.
A lot of
that was a good call. That was
he has returned. Yes,
he's playing.
Yeah, a lot of star players are back, and it makes the NFL exciting. So that's great. But yeah, Steelers aren't going to make it. Bengals are going to find a way to get in. I think.
So out of
pretty much.
I was going to say, yeah, Caleb. Like Jonathan, you say out of this playoff bracket, Steelers stick out to you as the one team that'll be eliminated. They'll fall back. John, you say the same thing. Probably the Steelers. Agree. Caleb, do you agree? Do you think the Steelers out of this group would be the one to fall out of playoff contention?
Well, that's part of I can share some of my take, but I wanted to ask all you guys because I think consistently mentioned was John. You said the Steelers, Browns, and then Jonathan. I think more on the Steelers. I would include not necessarily my own opinion, but 3 that I think would, if I were a betting man, I would put confidently into a pile of I'm not sure what's going to happen to them. You might see some greatness, they might make it or not. But the third one would be the Jags. Are you guys confident? How do you guys feel about the Jags making it?
I mean, the thing is, what other team's gonna like? Okay, let's say Texans could potentially win the division.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is, the Jags have been playing well, and their schedule is not too difficult. They still got to play the Texans. They play the Titans this week, who are 3-6. They got to play the Buccaneers. They play the Panthers
Ravens,
at some point.
Bengals,
Titans again.
Texans.
Yeah,
like great players and great coaches like that. They'll find a way to get in, even though sometimes they have bad games and stuff throughout the regular season. The Jags are one of those teams that they're going to find a way to get in the playoffs.
Okay. And don't forget that the Jaguars, remember how they ended last season, going in, like, I think winning, 7 games in a row or something going into the playoffs?
No, because I like the Jags. I might have even picked them to be divisional to winners, I think. They were, a lot of my times, my dark horse candidate. I'd put that more in the Texans this year.
Yeah, you were actually dead on with your AFC South prediction. You had Jags first, and you had Titans last.
Wow. Well, great. Because fantasy sucks this year. I was 0-2 and locking upset. I got to win somewhere.
There you go.
No, I still fundamentally, I say that even though I'm putting them in that 3 pile right now, I do fundamentally like Doug Peterson, Lawrence. The Jags have a good thing going, but there were some, I'm more confident putting the Texans as a dark horse, meaning fundamentally they're winning more games, tougher. Like they have less and they're doing more. I put the Jags there because some of the losses they've had or some of the games they've played have.
Well, they lost to the Texans, so they play them again. If Texans win at home, then they win the tiebreaker. Then it gets a little dicey as far as who wins the division.
Yeah.
But
that's why I'm not saying they're all going to not make it. Those are 3 that are more shaky than the others. Because anything could happen. You can't fault picking the Jets first when it was Aaron Rodgers at the time. And I hope everyone's healthy. We talked about this in the beginning though, going to the Bengals again, is every year they start off so bad, and then we were talking about it this year too. It's like they're kind of having to pay for not starting off strong. And it's like generally I would say based on past experiences they will make it. Mm-hmm. But with that tough schedule, you're putting so much of it, even if you're fundamentally a good team, you're putting a lot of that onto a game of inches where the ball, how penalties are called. And I still think it's hard to picture them not making it the way the rest of the society is surprised maybe at the Bills. Like nothing's over. It's still too early to call. Let's not forget there's still a lot of football to be played in the regular season, but it seems more easy to understand the Bills not making it than the Bengals. I think the Bengals will sneak in, but I still worry about the offensive line. Some of the hits Joe Burrow takes, injuries to the receiving core. It's like, and then just paying the rent was due for the first 5 weeks of just tough, not offensive engine, not chugging. Bengals at their prime every year are forced to be reckoned with. But even with the rest of the schedule, how tough it is and the standings, that is one that maybe should be, not saying they're not going to make it, but they should be, if they were in that pile, if they were making it, they should be in the pile of who knows what's going to happen. Mm-hmm. Bills, I don't know. You're talking about some great teams. The AFC has a lot of depth. If we're just talking about the AFC, probably Jets, but people hype up the Jets so much, but I don't know. Are we going to see Aaron Rodgers again this season?
We may or may not.
We probably will.
It's rumors are saying in December, right?
Yeah, December 28th or something is when.
Thing is, they got to play the Bills this week and Dolphins next week, so you're gonna have to win at least one of those.
Yeah, because they're 4-5 right now.
It won't matter. And that's if he comes back. But then if he comes back, are they even gonna do good? I don't know.
Well, there's so many potentially a little different than I think what we might say about the NFC, but the AFC has so many potentially great teams.
Right.
This season, but we're talking about. The Bengals, Colts probably not, but Bills, Raiders, now that they don't have McDaniels, have been flourishing. See, I was talking to Jared before we started recording, Devontae Adams dancing in the locker room, they pulled out the cigars. I don't think they pulled out the cigars. Yeah, I don't think they pulled out the cigars because they won. I think they pulled them out because they were out from the oppressive regime about McDaniels. Because McDaniels ran it like a lot of former Patriots coordinators have been alleged to have run it, not in a negative way, but just very militant, very disciplined, very rules oriented. And people love the new coach there. So it's the Raiders. I'm not saying it's who knows with them. But we're talking about the Chargers. The Jets defense is still good. The Broncos. We got a lot of flack for. You guys seen it?
So
we got
much
a lot
flack,
of flack
dude.
for putting Wilson in buns.
Yeah. See, if
right.
I just want it on the record. I don't think I was part of that segment. If I was part of that segment, that wouldn't have happened. I knew he was in buns.
That was
you agreed with that.
That was the dorm debate tier list. You are a part of that.
Yeah.
No. It was a vote.
I would have argued and said no. He shouldn't belong there because he had one bad season and people.
We had to publish something. This is like a bill on the congressional floor. Like there's little bits of stuff that we might not individually like, but we had to put.
You said
together.
You said
did I say yeah for Russell Wilson? I did not.
Yeah,
I want it on the record. I did not say that.
No, you were fine. No, the reason you were fine with it is because I said he was all the way on the left of buns. He was like warm and toasty.
Yeah, but buttery,
which is fair. I don't think the tier list reflects that dialogue. Like people see it and then like, how could he be in buns? It's just tough. It's tough to. In the same season, they lost 70 to the Dolphins. It's tough, but then they beat great teams. So it's like,
I think they got handed the win with the Bills. I mean, it wasn't.
And Mahomes was sick when they beat.
Exactly.
They're just getting lucky. They're getting.
Lucky. It's a lucky stretch.
So you guys stand by.
No, this is what I said before the season. Sean Payton is doing his work.
Oh come on, Jonathan. He's bums too.
Work.
You want to do a coaching tier list?
No. The defense is doing. Hey, their defense is playing great.
It's not a bad idea.
Their offense is done really well.
They're getting lucky.
They're getting better.
No, he's
getting better. That's a sign of a great coach. They're getting better. They were terrible in the first couple games. They got blown out by the Dolphins by like 70 to 20 or something like that, right? Something crazy like that. They're getting better.
That's why it's tough to.
I mean, you can only get better from losing 70 to 20. I mean, come on.
I know. That's why morally, I think it was tough to not put him in. Yeah.
It's because Mahomes was sick, bro. He's got the flu.
We can't erase that the Broncos have a fundamental like Russ has been balling out. It's just like, does this record really reflect that? I still put wins at the highest caliber, in these stats.
I want to see him. I want to see how they finish the rest of the year. You got to beat the Vikings this week.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And it's like, who knows? It's just tough the same season that they almost got historically beaten to like then also say that same quarterback is playing elite, and even statistically he is, because like people talk about Wilson a lot. Like, all right, like maybe in a silo, in a glass encapsulated situation, like the stats alone, maybe the quarterbacks will. But if the record doesn't reflect that, then what's the point? Like, why do we pay great quarterbacks, to win games and give your team hope? So I think the Broncos can, but like the AFC's depth. It's too. I mean, the only one I could easily, comfortably kind of rule out is the Patriots. They're not.
Yeah, after
they're not statistically out though.
The NFC total and seeing the playoffs picture, it looks like that's more set than this one.
Yeah,
exactly. I think for me, I would say when I looked at this, when I did my bracket, I see the Steelers dropping out, and I would replace them with the Bengals. The Bengals last year started 4-4, and they ended the season 12-4. So they won 8 straight games. So
that's possible. How many years?
The teams that they beat: Chiefs, Steelers, Browns, Ravens, all last year. They're playing them this year.
Good teams, yeah.
So will they do it again? I don't know, but just going off of last year, I would say Bengals would replace Steelers, and then Browns. They're out. I'm putting the Chargers in. I'm still holding my ground on the Chargers.
Chargers are gonna make it. And
no, they're not going to
make it.
It's great that they don't make it, because we actually want to see somebody that's gonna put a fight.
Well, like if they don't make it, you fire the head coach.
If you don't make it, Staley's gone.
Yeah, he's gone. He should be gone.
But I will say, last year, it started when we went to the Dolphins game. They won 4 of their last 5 games. The last game of the season was against the Broncos, where they didn't have to win, so they lost that one. But it's when the defense started playing well. In those 4 wins, it was 17, 14, 3, and 10. So if they're going to make the playoffs and if they're going to make a push, that is going to be the difference right there.
Yep.
The defense has to start clicking now, and then they can start making their run. Because we all know this offense clicked no problem. But it's the defense.
The Chargers?
Correct. They did this last year.
Let's be honest. The defense is never going to click. It's just not going to do it.
It did last year. I just proved it.
He just said the stat.
I just said it. I literally just said it, Jonathan.
I don't know if I agree with
I just showed you. They did it last season. It's the same group.
Yeah, I kind of agree, not with the reasoning of Jonathan, but the feeling I have about the Chargers is like, if we're talking about them potentially not making the playoffs, there go the coach is in such a position that we're also talking about him losing the job. I feel like the identity of the team on offense and defense is not sustainable. Like that's kind of where I'm going at. Not saying the defense won't do it, but it's like, even if they squeak into the playoffs and it's another year of this, like the offense clicking, I think needs more of a, I don't know, different identity, more aggressive, more some of those decisions. I said it from like week 2. It's like on site with him for some of the decision making. I think some of that doesn't go away till you change. So I'm afraid I'm disagree with the reasoning, but I'm kind of feeling what Jonathan's saying, where it's like I hope the best for you, Jared. You suffered a lot.
I hope the best for you. I want you to be happy.
Yeah, and I want the Chargers. They're a fun team to watch.
It's not about me. It's not about me.
It's about the team.
It's about the team, the people of San Diego who lost their team. Let's go to the NFC. This was a lot easier for me. I said, the NFC right now, if the playoffs started today, Caleb's Eagles are going to get a first-round bye just like last year. The Detroit Lions are going to be in second. The 49ers are going to be in third. The Saints are going to be in fourth, and that would be the last division winner. Then your wild cards are Seahawks, Cowboys, and Vikings in that order. So when I look at the NFC, I think nearly every team on that list that's in the playoffs right now will make the playoffs.
I think we already have our teams.
There are some edge teams.
That's strongly.
Tampa Bay Buccaneers just missed. The Washington Commanders just missed. The Atlanta Falcons. And then it kind of drops off. But the Minnesota Vikings, who are the last wild card team, 6-4. And then it goes the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are right behind them, 4-5. But then Commanders are 4-6. Falcons are 4-6. So really the only way that I see any change, and I'm still going to stand by it if they keep Ritter, which I think they will, I think the Falcons swap with the Saints. And the Falcons get in for the division. So
for division, yeah.
That's really all I see. So Eagles, Lions, 49ers, Saints or Falcons, one of the two. Seattle, Cowboys, Vikings. It's done. I feel like the NFC is on a lock right now.
I agree with you. I do agree with you that NFC South division winner is probably the position that I see being the most up in the air. But I think at the end of the day, the Saints will come out on top. I predicted them to win the division in the beginning of the year. I still think that. I think this is it. I mean, I know, yes, there's still plenty of football left. And, yeah, there's going to be injuries and stuff like that, uncertainty. But I think we'll be looking back on this and being like, yep, yeah, we had our teams at week 11. We already had our teams for the NFC.
Yeah. The only team I would say is Commanders, which, Caleb, they're your favorite team right now. So do you think they could make a push?
Favorite team to hate? Well, I'm on the Browns. They could. Well, that's kind of my take. And maybe a question to you guys is, maybe not a question, but I don't feel like this, like the disparity between the very best and the very worst is really wide in the NFC. But then it's like with each division, it's like the number 1 and the number 2 kind of could switch.
Yeah, I should mention too, Tampa Bay
right, that's the one I'm looking at.
Without their bye, or with the bye, is 4-5, and then Falcons are 4-6. So they're kind of like tied for second. But so for the NFC South, it looks like it's Saints, Tampa Bay, or Atlanta.
Yeah, like these teams, I vibe with the energy, John, that you're giving. Like these teams look like the ones that would make it. But then it's like, it's too, and you said it too, it's too early to call. I do think that those teams that are in each division, the number 1 and the number 2 in each, some of them are tied, especially the Bucks. Like it's tough to know. Not saying they're gonna. We're talking about a lot of teams that probably won't win the Super Bowl, and you never know. Injuries could happen, and nothing's guaranteed in the NFL. It's very hard to win a single game. But then if we're talking about teams that could make the playoffs, and with so much football still left to be played, too early to call. I will say with the Saints, if they even continue to maintain their improvement, because that offense was sputtering big time, then I'd feel comfortable more, even if they're not going, even if the offense doesn't keep up. I still like them better than the Falcons, just because the Falcons seem
without Carr though. Now they're probably gonna have Winston for this week.
I know, but it's like the Falcons are such a tough to nail down identity-wise, and not in a good way.
Just
Not
use
like...
your good players. How hard is that?
Exactly. It's like the coaching is so dysfunctional. It feels like, at least to the media and to what you see on the field, where why would you, the stuff that's coming out of Smith's mouth, it's like maybe he'd be a great coach if he just talked less or knew how to manage the media better. But like that's where my part is. And I do have Bijan, right? Is that or Bijan? Bijan, I think is. They clarified
mustard.
On the commentary.
Bijan mustard.
The correct pronunciation.
I was hearing that too in the commentators. I was like, I forget which saying it wrong.
Yeah, he said that his mother clarified. I just forget what the clarification was. I think it was Bijan, because I think you were saying
a reliable
Bijan.
Source.
Yeah. She was there, I'm sure. But yeah, I think it's more like the Saints fundamentally, I think probably will be better. But then people were roasting us a bit for the Baker take. I do.
That's why I honestly I forgot to mention the Buccaneers being above the Atlanta Falcons, but I just can't.
That shows what
can't foresee Baker Mayfield in the playoffs. Like I just don't.
It's not as flashy as the other teams that we like to talk about, but their defense is good. Todd Bowles is like the heir apparent to the coaching tree, and if Baker plays the way Baker can, that's the biggest question mark. So I'm like, that factor is easier to nail down than whether the Falcons kind of do the sensible thing sometimes, coaching wise, or if the Saints continue to excel without Carr, and if the offense goes. Like I feel like the Bucs might be the ones that get into that position. Commanders, I don't like to talk about. They're I just. But what about the Rams? What do you guys feel about the Rams? Because of all the other teams, we're looking at the Giants, Cardinals. You have to look at them winning out to potentially. The Panthers, we already know. Giants, Bears, but the Rams are 12th as of this week, and it's the Rams. Are we totally ruling them out?
Yeah,
I mean, I'm pretty much ruling them out. The problem with them is that they're already 3-6. They already have 6 losses. So they play the Seahawks this week. Okay, let's say they win. Cardinals, Browns, okay, let's just say they win those. Now they're 6-6. Then they got to play at the Ravens. They'll lose that. They still got to go to the 49ers. They'll lose that. So, like, at the best, you're looking at 8-8. Like,
okay, which is not impossible considering I feel like
is Stafford going to be back?
Yeah.
When, like this week?
Yeah.
Well, then we're saying nothing about. I wouldn't rule them out, even if they are pretty low on that list. But then we got to think about. And I like him. Not let me give that preface, but we have to consider the Vikings. How well Dobbs adjusts to being the Vikings guy. Teams adjusting to him being the guy. Because I feel like new quarterback.
Jefferson's coming back too, so
right.
He'll have
so
more weapons.
And he's been good. Yes. He's been great. But I feel like some people will say, "Well, how can you keep the Vikings unquestionably in there?" I would still.
It's unquestionable.
It's the astronaut.
Do you guys see the animation Do you guys see the animation they did of him riding a rocket ship on one of the broadcasts?
I did.
I just love whoever's making these, like, corny is not the right word, but like they're doing their best, and I like the heart that goes into the animations. Whatever software they're using.
And on the NFL Twitter, the banner was Taylor Swift, and now it's Joshua Dobbs, the man doing God's work. What a guy! He defeated Taylor Swift, and now Joshua Dobbs is the banner for the NFL TikTok or for Twitter. So I love it. I
do like him though.
Early in the season, I prayed for the Vikings' downfall, but I am full on ready for them to potentially make it to the NFC Championship with Joshua Dobbs. It's going to be an incredible story. Jonathan, anybody that whoa.
Keep on dreaming. You don't like him?
I mean, I like him, but it's not going to happen. Let's be honest.
You don't like him?
I'm being honest.
But I think this playoff picture is pretty much set. And honestly, as a Cowboys fan, I want it to be exactly like this because I'm tired year after year people criticizing the Cowboys for losing to the 49ers.
No, you don't. You're lying to yourself.
No.
You're lying.
I want this matchup.
It's deserved.
Yes.
No, you don't.
You'd lose to the 49ers. Is what he's talking
Jonathan.
about.
No.
Don't lie to yourself. You don't want to see them.
I want to see them. This would be the sweetest victory. This would be the sweetest victory as a Cowboys fan.
But you won't get it.
Oh, we'd get it. Yes, we'd get it. This is the year.
It would be the sweetest victory.
This is the year?
We have all the tools needed to get it. Okay? We have... Okay. Yeah, yes, Vander Esch, he did get hurt. He's out for the season. That's tough. But still, I think the
huge.
defense
That's
is
big.
huge. That's big. But I still think the defense could step up. I think we have a good cornerback. We have good cornerbacks on both sides. That we
You don't
bland.
have Trayvon
We have-
Diggs anymore. You're screwed.
You don't
dude.
have
You're
Diggs.
screwed. I'm sorry.
No. We have a great offense. CeeDee Lamb has stepped up. We have Ferguson. We have a reliable offense.
Cooks is stepping up.
Cooks is stepping up. This
Who
is
doesn't
going to
know
be
who that is?
if we face
Pollard
them.
sucks.
Hey, believe me.
Trying to
The Cowboys are the last team the 49ers want to see in the playoffs.
No, that's
Are
the
you
first
kidding
team
me?
they want. Are
They
you
would
kidding?
love
Why are you
that.
lying to
Yeah.
yourself? I
No,
don't understand.
No, the Cowboys have a bitter taste in their mouth, and they got better. They leveled up ever since.
That's
last
what you said
time.
the year
Actually,
before.
I think you actually got worse from last year.
No. We got better.
In what way? You lost. Van Der Esch isn't going to play. Diggs isn't going to play.
Your OC.
Offensive coordinator gone.
Ezekiel Elliott, goal line
Zeke
back.
gone.
Well, I feel like that's why last year hurt so much. Was like that was the year because then
Yep.
you had to deal with like
That's
I think
what we've
Schultz
heard. That's what they
Schultz
said.
leaving.
That's what
You
they
know,
be
like the
saying.
contracts. And I give a lot. No, as an Eagles fan, I give a lot of respect to the Cowboys because they compete. I mean, despite all these myriads of issues,
They
still-
compete.
they still yeah, no, they're still a good team. But like
I'm just
Great team.
respectfully, the delusion, like to lose to the 49ers and the Eagles, and then the next week be like, oh, we'll definitely get them next time. Like that's two great teams, man. Like what has changed for the better?
Well, yeah. I mean,
Respectfully, you all are still a good team, but that's kind of my impression.
we put up a lot of points this season. How much did we beat the Giants by 40 the first time? Then like
Same
49.
as
oh my
last
gosh,
year.
it's the
No,
Giants.
no,
They
no.
suck.
It's a
You did
divisional
the
rival.
same thing last
divisional
year.
rival.
No, that's okay.
Hey, every NFL
Jonathan.
team good. Don't get that. Every
No,
NFL
we're
team
not. The Giants are terrible.
Dude, you were knocking Joshua Dobbs for beating the Falcons. You're like, it's just the Falcons.
Yeah.
good. Yeah. But
The
the
Falcons
Giants,
are way better than the Giants.
no. I look at the head coach, Brian Dable. To be able to beat him like that, that's embarrassing.
He's giving up. He wants the tank for Caleb Williams.
no. He's not giving up.
playing-
He's
he's
not
a-
giving
Wait,
up.
Jonathan, hold on. If you were, let's just say the 49ers jumped to the 2 seed and the Lions went down to the 3 and you had to go into Detroit, I don't know if you guys win that.
That would be a better matchup. I would honestly
Cowboys versus
favor
Detroit?
Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, do you think would
Oh,
would
yeah.
win?
I think
Yeah,
I would
you
favor.
win.
I would favor the
Are you kidding me?
Cowboys over experience.
Yes.
No,
Yes,
I would
always
say
good.
I would say Lions.
I
would
love
lean
the
towards
Lions. I do.
We
They,
love
they
the
were my
Lions, but-
underdog, but
Yeah,
It would be
we love the
closer
Lions, but
versus
that's
the
a huge
stigma. The
upset.
Cowboys would have the stigma of like, oh, this is the bully that's bullied me, and I have to like overcome. Whereas the Lions, it's like they're a good team.
Actually, you know what? Lions play the Cowboys. Week 17
It's
in
easy.
Dallas.
that
We
won't
should-
matter.
yeah.
It's probably
That
a
won't
game
matter
they don't
anyway.
want to.
Honestly, I think Dallas will win that because it's in Dallas, but then they have to go to Detroit in the playoffs and Cowboys will
like
lose.
Jared, you're saying this is the problem every year with the Cowboys. It's like you blow out great teams, and it's the same as last year.
Yeah, and
You
I
know,
think
like,
for
offense
the,
looks good on paper.
the Cowboys are an experienced playoff team
Yeah.
that literally
Not in winning.
literally
They-
can.
not to win.
No, but they
ended
can
Tom
You
Brady's
win.
can't just
career.
have a playoff experience.
No, they
Cowboys
Dak,
ended Tom
Dak
Brady's
has what?
career.
They don't know how to win a game.
No, they have two.
Tom Brady
Dak
ended
has like
Tom-
2 or 3 playoff wins.
They've
In
won.
how many
it's
years
not
ago?
good experiences.
Cowboys
you know?
He
ended
just
Tom
had one
Brady's
last
career.
year over Tom Brady.
Yeah.
Oh
So-
come
Ended his
on,
career.
that
When
was the Bucks were so bad.
But if you take Dallas Cowboys versus Detroit Lions, who haven't made the playoffs in literally 150 years,
Cowboys win.
you would be. I'm more confident in the Cowboys in that game, even though I
just
love.
because of the 150-year history.
No,
Yeah, literally.
Look at the team right now.
I'm
This
not
is the
saying-
best team they've had.
No,
I
look at
wouldn't
the.
say they'd win, but I'd feel better about it.
It's like
my
the
feelings are
Vikings.
not
The Vikings
facts.
didn't make it in so long, and then they make it, and they get the freaking Giants, and
Yeah.
boom, there you go, you're out. Like
And a lot of the-
I think that you wouldn't want for Detroit or for Dallas, you wouldn't want the 49ers. I don't know why you're saying that because they know how to beat
Definitely.
you up
No,
and down,
no.
left, right. They could
Jared's-
literally
I think
kill you.
Jared's
We
right.
have
You
the
want
tools
an
to-
inexperienced playoff team. You want a coach that hasn't coached in the playoffs ever. You want that. Why would you rather have the 49ers? Because then you won't win any playoff game this year. You'll lose
Yeah.
first round.
And they
Dude,
already beat
that's
you.
what the
man.
offseason was
like,
for.
Take advantage of strategy. Like
They
have
already
another
beat you
team.
this season, so you
Yeah,
know it's
you
not
already
different.
lost.
They
That's what I
crushed
was
them.
saying.
That's my point. They already beat us this season. You can't beat us again. Come on. Guys.
Oh,
Again.
they've
We
beat
have
you
an
every time. What do you mean they can't beat you
We
again?
have
That's
a
what they
new-
said
we have
about
a
the
new
Eagles last
arsenals
year.
ready to attack. Okay?
And honestly, Jonathan, it was 42-10. Like you guys didn't even make it nearly close.
Yeah,
It was uncompetitive.
I think the trash
They weren't
talk was
trying.
better.
It was like a
after
high
the
school game.
So you don't try against the 49ers. That's good to know.
Well, the 49ers, look, early in the season, the 49ers were playing well, but you've seen what they've done over the past couple weeks. Okay.
Yeah, they won 34-3 last week.
Yeah, against the Jaguars. I mean, Jaguars are playing bad.
It's an NFL team.
They're playing bad.
It's an NFL team. All NFL teams are good.
Yeah, they're all good.
Yeah, but so 34. The Cowboys won 49-17. I think that's more impressive than.
It's
that was
the
a bit of a rival.
Giants. Giants
It's
are
all-
2-8.
Dude, Tommy
Jags are
DeVito.
6-3.
Tommy
this is
Tommy DeVito.
He lives at home and his mom makes
mom
his
made his
bed.
freaking bed the morning he
That's
went
a-
to the game.
That's a great mother. You got to give respect.
No, it's a great mom, but dude,
Yeah.
Tommy, dude, I don't know if you should say that so proudly.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that.
No.
You gotta garner respect from middle-aged men, grown men. You can't be like, yeah, I live at home. She makes all my meals. She drives me to work.
Well, that was
makes my
Kirk
bed.
Cousins. Wasn't that Kirk Cousins as well in the Washington? Like
Yeah, but
to
Nelson's
save
wife.
money, he
Or
lived
is
in
that
the
what it
basement.
Yeah, it was his wife.
What,
Defeat-
lived in the basement?
I don't know. What are you talking about?
Like Kirk Cousins used to save a lot of money by being really frugal and like living in his parents' basement. Am I crazy? Am I
I don't know. Maybe you're thinking of somebody
someone
else.
else?
Maybe I don't know. Kirk Cousins.
I'll look it up
maybe.
while y'all discuss. but
He seems like a family man.
no,
but-
Cowboys are still a force to be reckoned with. But I just don't see the logic of like teams that have beat the Cowboys then facing them again in a more serious and important situation. The
Yeah,
results
exactly.
changing.
Yeah, that's exactly what it
Well,
is.
like, not exactly.
You think they're gonna sit there and let them beat them 42-10 again? No.
Yeah.
Go back to the film.
I think
What
so.
happened? What happened? And game plan. That's what it is. That's why it's tough to beat the same team, twice in a season, especially during the playoffs. The second time in the playoffs. Woo! I wish it happens. I want that. I want this. If the playoffs were today, I'll be so happy because the Cowboys would beat the 49ers. That's how it should be. I can't wait because I think it could end up like this. There's a good chance it can end up like this.
I don't understand where you're getting this delusional confidence.
Guys, like I've said it all season,
It
all
was
these
during
different
the
teams,
summers.
and I've been right. The Bills, I was right. Russell Wilson, I was right. Josh Dobbs, I was right.
Yeah, but you're always wrong about the Cowboys, though.
That's the one common denominator.
Yeah.
No, not this
Just
year.
be
that
right
gives you
about
the-
the. Just
It
be
gives
right
you
about
the
those
clarity.
things.
It gives
You
you the
watch the
clarity to
most
see-
film on the Cowboys, and you get them wrong. Maybe you should watch less Cowboys games so you
No,
know.
that's what gives you the power to see clearly other teams, maybe. But we're also saying, like, with the Eagles, Saints, Vikings, like, injuries could. I mean, I also wonder with the 49ers how much they did look like they were imploding. To come off a bye and win that big is definitely against the Jags.
Yeah, I will
Yeah.
say
Impressive,
this.
but that's one where I'm a little worried about.
If the Cowboys win and beat the 49ers, I won't be sad. That's for sure because Brock Purdy would have lost, and then
He won't lose. Don't worry.
so it's a win-win for me.
Jonathan's bet with me will go to the garbage once Purdy beats Dak in the playoffs.
It's not gonna happen.
All right, so let's move on to lock and upset.
Yes. Back
so
in first place.
This household went 2-0. John and Jared.
Yes.
You guys,
And Jonathan
trading
0-2.
secrets.
0-2.
What?
And Caleb
Insider
0-2.
trading.
Again? I can't believe you went 0-2.
Wait. This is some
Insider
I know
trading
y'all
going
playing
on.
around. How'd I go 0-2?
Caleb
What's
and
it?
Jonathan 0-2. Let's
Wait,
take a
confirm
look
what
at the
teams I-
standings.
You picked the Bengals as your lock. They
Oh
lost
no,
to the
see, and
Texans.
that's what I'm saying. I don't think I picked the Bengals. I really don't think I
Look
can
at
pick the
recording,
Bengals.
dude.
You,
Are
what
you
do you
sure
mean?
about that?
You said it yourself, man.
You did.
Oh man.
No, it
You
was a
need to
tough week
get to
for
know
me, too.
yourself.
We're
You
in
need-
it together. The Titans easily disappointed me. I was like, all right, clearly I was wrong about the Titans, but the Bills. At some point, I was just in that Bills game. I was texting you guys like, I don't even care if I'm wrong. At this point, I was like, the Bills just whiffed it.
Never
like, the thing
pick
is,
'em
Skip
again.
Bayless whiffed it. They whiffed it.
Nobody
You
went
whiffed.
1-1.
They blundered. And I was like, at this point, I don't even care if I'm right, right or wrong. It's just the Bills had so many clear mistakes. I would like just end it.
So
Yeah.
the graphic. Caleb just venting about his 0-2.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the reason why he's venting is because John has leapfrogged Caleb,
I have
and he has the
sole
sole
possession.
possession. sole
That's it,
possession
Caleb.
of first
I'm
place.
gonna
Oh, no, you said
unfortunately
that
I'm gonna leave you
before.
in the dust.
It's not over till it's over.
So
It's
John
over.
is
No,
2
no,
and
you said
0.
that to me last few weeks.
John is 2-0.
We have fun
This week he's now 15-5. Caleb
15 and 5.
0-2. He is now 14 and some 6. And then Jonathan, you went 0-2. You're 10-10. And then I went 2-0. My first upset win, and I'm 8-2. Jonathan, do not go 0-2 again. 8-12. 8-12. Because Jonathan goes 0-2 and I go 2-0. We are now tied at 12, 10-12.
Still
So,
anyone's game.
Let's
Not
start
over
off with my lock, as always.
Can you guys please not leave me with the easiest
no.
ones?
We said this before. I'm not falling for it.
The fitting that we were talking about this team. I'm going with the Cowboys for double weeks in a row.
Are you really?
Over
Now
the
you're picking Cowboys.
Panthers?
That's worrisome.
It's over
Cowboys
the Panthers.
away from home.
Minus 10.5.
Remember when you said like you were never gonna trust them
You
again?
said I'll never pick Cowboys again.
If it's double digits spread, then I'm picking them.
Fair play,
Jonathan,
fair play.
what is your lock? I stole the Cowboys away from you.
My lock. Okay, my lock. Yeah, this is
That's
tough
the
week.
minus points next to the team.
Oh,
I hope you're
Yeah, I
looking
do-
at
I-
it
I-
and not just blankly looking at the teams.
Are you
with
just
no
looking at the
spread.
games, or are you looking at the spreads?
I'm just looking at the games.
All right, I'll let you
Oh.
know.
Okay, so I'm picking the Dolphins.
No, they're
Go Raiders.
upsets. Raiders are favorite.
No,
no,
they're-
it's not. Shut up. That's a fair. Dolphins are your pick.
No, that's a
Jonathan?
good.
Just
That's
to lock
a good
it
pick.
in.
Well, actually, Raiders are 2-0 since firing.
No,
What's
That
what's
was-
the
that was-
line?
minus
12.
Minus 12. Dolphins
Okay.
are favored. But I like
All
that
right.
pick, but it's you're kind of gambling.
Wait, Jonathan,
on,
are you confirmed with that? I want to make sure.
Yep.
Okay.
Dolphins.
Okay.
Just making sure. I want to make sure this is
Saying
Jonathan
that-
and not some alter ego.
No, that no. That's a good pick. That probably would have been mine too. So fair play.
Okay, Caleb, you are up.
So the Cowboys have been picked. The Dolphins have been picked. I will go with. I'll give him a chance. The 49ers over the Bucks.
That's the team I wanted.
Over who?
Over the Bucks. 49ers are 11.5-point favorites. This is
All right,
also-
that's okay. I think there's one left that's pretty solid, so I'm gonna take the Lions at home against the Bears.
That
They're
was my second choice.
9.5-point favorites, and Fields looks like he probably won't play again.
Again?
Ever?
Yeah, it looks like it. So.
Ever?
Ever.
Oh gosh.
Oh no.
Okay, so we're on to the upset portion. My upset, I'm gonna go with my first time picking them. The Pastronaut, Minnesota Vikings
Oh.
over the Denver Broncos. Russell
Darn,
Wilson
good
can
one.
suck it. Jonathan, your upset.
My upset. So, look, you guys let me know about the Eagles and
Come
the
on.
Chiefs. The Eagles are favored, right?
No, Chiefs are favored by 2.5.
So Eagles are underdogs.
Wait, Jonathan, what about the Jets?
That's all right.
No.
Yeah,
All right. So
oh,
Bills.
yeah.
Oh, okay. This is easy. The Jets are gonna beat the Bills. Simple.
Oh wow.
Like that was one
That's
of the
a
stupid
record
things.
5 times.
That's
Bills
the
have
fifth
been
and let me-
picked.
Let me tell you why. That was probably one of the stupidest things to ever do. To fire your offense coordinator if you're trying to really make a push for the playoffs.
The game before you play the Jets?
Within 12 hours, they fired him too, and it was
That defense is going to eat so many turnovers, and they could sweep the Bills. They beat the Bills the first game of the season. Could
True.
sweep the Bills. Who knows?
actually a really interesting pick.
Caleb, you are now up.
I'm gonna go with. I've not done it yet this season, but I will. I'm leaving some open for John here, so see if you make the right call. So many options, but I'm picking the Eagles who are underdogs.
Yes, that's a good pick.
Over the Chiefs. Rematch of the Super Bowl. I'm excited.
That's a good one. That's probably what I would have picked if you would have picked the one I was looking at.
Really? Or are you just saying that?
No, I'm serious. If you would have, I'm picking Rams to beat the Seahawks. They're +1.
Okay.
But if you picked that, I would have picked the Eagles just because I think the Eagles could win that. But I'm going to pick the Rams to beat the Seahawks. I mean, Seahawks probably should win that game, but Rams coming off a bye. Stafford will be back. Actually, let me confirm that Stafford is like. 'Cause if Stafford doesn't play, I have no shot.
I'm giving you too much leeway.
I mean,
okay, so he's expected to play. They said yesterday that he's expected to play. So,
okay.
But do I have the option to change that? What if Stafford gets ruled out? It's that's kind of unfair, right?
No, I don't think it's fair.
We lock it in. It's lock and upset, man.
Yeah, I don't think it's unfair.
Here.
I gotta lock it in.
You gotta lock it in Tuesday.
You gotta lock in the upset.
Can you give your insider a call and see if you know Stafford will play?
Yeah,
your time traveler. Yeah,
no,
the one you guys were sharing last week.
Yeah, I'll stick with the Rams.
That's a fair pick.
And you picked the Seahawks over Commanders as your lock last week, so
yeah,
this is pretty funny. All right, that was a good slate, dude. We got an exciting week 11 coming up. What's the Thursday night game? Just out of curiosity.
Bengals at Ravens.
Great one. Nobody wanted to touch that game. Who knows what's gonna happen?
It was on my list for upset because this is for context for the audience, but the Bengals are +4, so the Ravens are actually favored to win that. I don't know. Do you guys agree with that?
In Baltimore?
Yeah, they should be.
Yeah, I would agree.
The way the Ravens have been playing, I mean, that first week where they blew out the team, that's okay. It was maybe the coaching, but they've been on a streak, So.
Blew out
they lost last game.
Excuse me. The Harbaughs look so similar. I was like, maybe they switched places,
They've been on a streak. They lost last week. Excuse me?
No, I mean, we got a lot of hate for Lamar not being higher, so
yeah.
Lamar's been falling out. So it's
MVP this season.
It's not been a fluke, yeah.
Yeah. All right, well, that will conclude our Week 11 preview episode / playoff predictions. Thank you guys so much for watching and listening. If you haven't already, go over to our TikTok and our Instagram at Dornbay Podcast and sauce as a follow. I don't know why I turned from Ireland there. Sauce as a follow over there. If you haven't subscribed onto the YouTube channel, please hit the subscribe button. We are on the road to 5,000. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, please leave us a 5-star review.